Welcome to the debate. Today, we're tackling one of the most pressing questions in global commerce. How do we establish unassailable integrity and just foundational trust within these increasingly complex globalized supply chains? I mean, we are talking about billions of goods moving across fragmented networks and the constant threat of fraud, counterfeiting, and compromise. It's really undermining consumer confidence.
Right. And the digitalization of these chains, which is necessary for efficiency, only, exacerbates these vulnerabilities by creating all these new attack vectors. To truly grasp the stakes, we're looking at this through the high-stakes lens of the halal supply chain. Here, integrity is just paramount, maintaining Sharia compliance, preventing mislabeling, ensuring zero contamination. It's not just a matter of regulation or profit, it's an absolute ethical and religious imperative.
Exactly. The halal sector, with its zero-tolerance policy for any kind of compromise, really serves as the perfect benchmark for end-to-end traceability. And this raises our central question. Does the digital ecosystem that's designed to ensure this profound level of integrity depend primarily on the structural immutability of the blockchain ledger, or does it depend on the cognitive power of artificial intelligence to proactively detect anomalies and fraud? I maintain that the foundation of digital trust absolutely rests on that immutable tamper-proof record provided by blockchain technology.
For, legal and ethical transparency, I argue that without the real-time predictive intelligence of AI, the system just lacks the crucial responsiveness required to ensure genuine physical integrity against operational failure and malicious fraud. A perfect immutable record of a failed action is, at the end of the day, still a record of consumer betrayal.
Okay, so to understand why blockchain is foundational, we have to look at the historical bottleneck, the centralized database. Traditional supply chains rely on these siloed, often manual records, which creates a single point of failure. This data is so susceptible to tampering, defragmentation, and, simple human error.
And you're talking about the core feature of distributed ledger technology here.
Precisely. Immutability. Once a transaction, an inventory update, a compliance milestone, a quality check is cryptographically recorded on that distributed ledger, it just cannot be altered or deleted without consensus from the whole network. This verifiable, time-stamped digital register is the foundational mechanism for anti-counterfeiting efforts.
And the research refers to this as the Blockchain-Enabled Digital Supply Chain, or BEDC framework, right? It's designed to create that trustless environment where verification doesn't rely on any single potentially compromised authority.
That's the core concept. By assigning unique digital identifiers to products and recording their journey immutably, we empower every stakeholder, from the regulatory body to the end consumer, to instantly verify authenticity. This secures transaction integrity, and it enhances accountability. If a bad actor tries to introduce a falsified document or unauthorized goods, the immutable history just instantly exposes the fraud. Blockchain is about preventing the digital lie.
Okay, I see why you emphasize that structural integrity. I really do. But let me give you a different perspective that's rooted in operational reality. Immutability is only as good as the moment the data is committed. The actual integrity challenge in complex, sensitive supply chains isn't just about transaction records. It's about physical reality. We're talking about contamination events, mechanical failures, temperature deviations that spoil goods.
But these physical inputs can be verified by smart contracts before they're recorded.
They can, but that's a reactive check. These real-world physical events require active, real-time intelligence, not just static record-keeping. And this is where AI's cognitive capability becomes the critical defense layer. Through machine learning and deep learning, AI algorithms analyze these massive, dynamic data sets from IoT sensors, temperature, humidity, GPS location, and they cross-reference that against historical patterns, compliance rules, and even the blockchain ledger itself.
The reliance on massive, clean data sets for AI is precisely where I see the fragility in that argument.
Maybe. Yet this active intelligence is what allows the system to predict potential points of failure, to identify subtle patterns of noncompliance, maybe a truck idling too long in an unsecured zone, and then trigger automated alerts. For high-stakes sectors like halal food, AI's predictive analytics are absolutely essential for proactive risk management, which an immutable ledger operating retroactively just cannot do.
And this brings us directly to the most crucial disagreement here. Are we focused on securing the legal and audit trail, the digital record, or securing the physical reality on the ground? My position holds that the ability to trace goods from origin to end user, providing a tamper-proof, auditable record, is the foundational guarantee. Blockchain streamlines auditing. It simplifies compliance with standards like ISO 28000. And most critically, it provides legally defensible proof in any dispute. We eliminate that single point of failure problem.
That's a compelling point on legal traceability, but I would frame the risk differently. Legal proof of a shipment confirms the paperwork, sure, but it doesn't physically prevent a fraudulent, non-halal ingredient from being introduced during processing. This is the difference between recording an event and preventing it. AI's true value is at instantaneous anomaly detection, enabled by integrating those physical IoT sensors with advanced ML models.
But if the AI identifies contamination and that contamination record is not immutable, what stops a bad actor from simply deleting the record of the anomaly? Doesn't AI's insight rely entirely on the integrity of that blockchain foundation to ensure its findings are preserved?
The synergy is undeniable, I'll give you that. But the AI layer acts proactively, in real time, before the integrity is irrevocably compromised. The AI system can detect that a pattern of temperature readings is trending toward the danger zone hours before a formal failure, allowing a manager to divert the shipment. We're talking about predictive measures that ensure product quality in process, long before an immutable record of a failed step is simply added to the ledger as legal evidence of failure. The goal is consumer protection, not just legal recourse after the fact.
I acknowledge that predictive intelligence is powerful, I do. But let's move past the technical capability and discuss the challenges of implementation and cost. The challenge with relying so heavily on AI is its dependency on high-quality, continuous, and reliable input data. If the sensor data is corrupted, or if the IoT device is tampered with, the predictive power just vanishes.
That's a fair critique, the whole garbage in, garbage out problem. It's common to all data systems.
And beyond data quality, the complexity and maintenance of these advanced AI models, especially deep learning networks, it's a significant hurdle for businesses, particularly smaller ones. You need specialized data science teams. Furthermore, integrating advanced AI and complex systems like digital twins with legacy ERP systems is notoriously resource-intensive, limited by interoperability, and it carries high initial investment costs for cloud computing and new sensor infrastructure.
That argument relies on painting AI as overly fragile and cost-prohibitive. Yet, I would argue that the structural barriers currently preventing large-scale adoption of blockchain solutions are arguably more fundamental.
How so?
Well, I'm just not convinced that AI costs outweigh the structural costs inherent in blockchain.
I mean, we're talking about the significant energy consumption associated with the consensus mechanisms of public chains, like proof of work, which inherently limit transaction rates. These structural barriers fundamentally limit scalability for handling the massive volume and velocity required by global supply chains far more severely than AI's data dependency issues.
That is a critical point regarding public blockchains, but it overlooks the crucial distinction between public and permission systems. Private or permissioned blockchains, like Hyperledger Fabric, are specifically designed to address those scalability issues in an enterprise context. By limiting the number of validating nodes to only trusted partners, you drastically lower energy consumption, you increase transaction speed, and you still maintain enough decentralization to achieve immutability. This mitigation turns the scalability argument back on the AI dependence.
I agree that permissioned ledgers offer a path around that debate. But let's also consider the non-technical costs. For both technologies, the challenge of getting ecosystem-wide adoption is immense. You can't realize the full benefit of this system unless all suppliers, customs agencies, and distributors participate. The organizational resistance that often slows adoption more than any technical hurdle.
Absolutely. We're talking about overcoming organizational silos, yet the reward is higher when we look at automation. Beyond pure record keeping, blockchain enables smart contracts, self-executing programs that automatically enforce predefined rules.
Right. And smart contracts are an elegant tool for reducing human error. No question.
Well, they inject structural integrity into the business process itself.
They can automatically check compliance data fed from sensors, for instance, verifying a halal shipment met all temperature requirements. And if the conditions are met, the contract automatically executes the payment. This minimizes fraud risks because the enforcement mechanism is embedded right in the decentralized code.
That's a powerful argument for process efficiency, but I think it overlooks how AI fundamentally enhances this automation by identifying systemic risk that smart contracts, being purely deterministic, they just can't anticipate. AI provides blockchain intelligence. It can analyze transaction patterns on the immutable ledger and flag abnormal behaviors that might indicate collusion or spoofing, things a static contract can't catch.
So the AI is looking for fraud within the structure of the blockchain itself?
Exactly. And furthermore, consider predictive maintenance systems, which use AI to monitor ship engine components or refrigeration units in real time, predicting failures before they cause disruptions. This is proactive integrity management.
Which means the physical input data remains clean and verifiable for the smart contract to act upon. That synergy is critical.
It is. The AI layer also optimizes the entire logistical system. For example, ML models can analyze historical port data to predict task duration and optimize port passage, reducing environmental impact and congestion. And that optimization reduces the time goods spend vulnerable in transit, which is a critical measure of integrity far beyond simple record keeping. The ultimate test of integrity is resilience.
That is a sophisticated argument for the operational intelligence layer. I appreciate the necessity of AI to optimize that real-world flow. However, my position holds that the core of ethical engineering for supply chains is foundational trust, that underlying guarantee of verifiability.
And that is secured by immutability.
Yes. The ability of the blockchain to provide a decentralized, verifiable, and immutable ledger is the crucial prerequisite for securing digital supply chains. Without that foundational structure, the real-time insights from AI, however accurate, would lack the binding trust required for stakeholders and consumers to act upon them. The intelligence layers, however crucial, operate on top of that prerequisite. They don't replace it.
Intellectual disagreement sharpens understanding, and we clearly agree on the vital synergies here. However, the halal supply chain example, I think it illuminates the limitations of passive trust. While immutability is necessary for a legally and ethically sound record, AI's capacity for real-time analysis, predictive insight, and proactive anomaly detection is what elevates a secure record into a truly resilient and fraud-proof digital ecosystem. The solution relies on the integration, but AI provides that critical layer of active intelligence that validates the physical integrity that the immutable chain is only capturing after the fact.
We have examined how the dual forces of blockchain and AI are transforming global supply chains, shifting the paradigm from reactive monitoring to proactive, verifiable trust. We agree both are critical enablers for resilience and transparency.
The material suggests that while both technologies are critical, the fundamental question remains for businesses, regulators, and consumers: which layer, the immutable foundation that grants accountability, or the active intelligence that guarantees real-time compliance, ultimately serves as the most effective and responsive defense against the persistent threats of fraud and physical compromise?